So please come closer for our conversation on new constitution in Uzbekistan to support youth. So please come a little bit closer.
I would just like to link to one of the big questions that came up in the last conversation. That was actually saying, okay, but what kind of vision and what kind of role governments have to take to assure that the functioning of future food systems in relation to the role of young ones, and what better than having the ambassador of Uzbekistan that is going to tell us the story on this.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Pio. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. Thank you for your interest towards Uzbekistan, towards what we are trying to do in our country. First of all, I would like to congratulate Ambassador Pio and your colleagues in the Switzerland Embassy for this excellent result for adoption of youth policy recommendation. So thank you very much for your excellent job, and now we have these youth policy recommendations. And coming to Uzbekistan, this initiative represents interest to us, and from very beginning we supported this initiative, and we tried to make contribution from us and to to share our own experience, what we are doing in our country, because everything connected with agriculture, youth policy, a priority in the policy of our leadership, President of Uzbekistan, Mr. Shavkat Mirziyoyev, and the government of our country. Before going to tell you about our new constitutional reforms, I would like to tell you that in general, we have been paying particular attention to everything connected with support of the younger generation of our country. Because in our country, 60% of our population are under 18 years old. So we are a very young nation. Population is growing, and before the government, we have a lot of tasks, to fulfill in order to support younger generation, to create all necessary conditions. And in this context, I would like to highlight just some things for you. In our parliament, Oli Majlis in Uzbekistan, we have special commission on youth issues. Prime Minister of Uzbekistan chairs Interagency Council for Youth Issues. We have special agency for youth matters, which was established some years ago. Also, we have youth registry book, which was created for supporting unemployed and unassociated young people. In addition to this, on the annual basis, government elaborates special programs with some incentives, with some stimulations in order to support young people in terms of housing, increasing the quotas for higher education, access to finance, land, tax breaks to employers for hiring young people. And in this context, what we are now doing in Uzbekistan, it's a big national debate now about reform of our constitution. As you know, many countries, including here Italy, made reforms, modernized constitution, because constitution should be something, a living mechanism of tackling the interest of the people. That's why after 30 years of our constitution, last year we initiated this process to renew, to modernize our basic law, constitution. And in this context, special focus we are paying in this new constitution to exactly issues connected with the younger generation. What is interesting for you to know, it is now published on the website of the Special Commission in Uzbekistan on constitutional reforms, and all the citizens of Uzbekistan can participate. And we are receiving so many proposals, to amend, to add some new provisions in the government, that we even decided to a little bit postpone the referendum. Because after receiving and analyzing, systematizing all these proposals, we would like to do national referendum about these constitutional reforms. So let me tell you, just a moment, about the main things which, yes, which will be highlighted in our constitution. Just a moment. Yes. So the most important features related to the youth in the constitutional reforms are the following. First, the state will guarantee that talented young people in Uzbekistan will continue their education regardless of their financial situation. The second, the state and society will take care of enriching the national and universal values in regard to the children and youth. The government will take full responsibility and will ensure the implementation of the state policy on youth. There are many other provisions in the Constitution which directly or indirectly are connected with the youth matters. And what is interesting, in the process of preparation of this constitutional reform, we studied experience of more than 100 countries, including United States, Germany, France, Italy, Republic of Korea, and a number of other countries. Now, as I mentioned, wide-scale public consultation is going on, and we hope that they will end and we will do this referendum before the Constitution Day in Uzbekistan, which we say please that the 8th of December every year. So in this context, I'm very pleased that I have this opportunity to share with you these very general outlines to give you a flavor of what we are doing in Uzbekistan in this context, exactly in the headquarters of FAO, which is organization which represents big interest towards Uzbekistan. And we are doing already a lot of projects with FAO, and the number of them, they are focused to support young generation in Uzbekistan. And in general also we are working, elaborating now conduct of international events also together with FAO, not only bilateral but on the international level. So I hope I was not too long. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, please feel free. Thank you.
See, maybe we can start a little bit to expand, because I see that in the SFS policy recommendation there is precisely this legal framework, to provide these legal frameworks to promote the inclusiveness of younger people, even in the sector of food system, agricultural sector. Can you tell us a little bit more about this, if you have some specific programs to involve more the younger people in the food sector?
Yes, as I mentioned, in the context of support of younger generation, of course, particular, role is given to agricultural development, because we want to create incentives and stimulations for younger people to, to develop themselves in the places where they live, rather than to go and for urbanization, because it is a problem not only for Uzbekistan but in the world. A lot of people, they try to go to the cities to try to find work there, but we want to create the more conditions favorable in the villages, in the small cities, etc. So allows them to, to develop first of all their own business, because farmer it's private, and by doing this to contribute into development of agriculture as a whole. In this, I would like to mention that along with the FAO, we are also cooperating with IFAD. And IFAD, they have very good program or projects of microfinancing. And this microfinancing dedicated to, allocate funds for local small enterprises, medium and small size enterprises, to produce milk, to produce bread, to produce different food, And in this context, of course, FAO, for us it's very important.
Thank you for this. I know that Ambassador Wennubst wants to react or to expand a little bit more on this.
I want to ask another question, because Uzbekistan, I've been a few times in Uzbekistan, as we already discussed in the past, and I reckon that Uzbekistan is a country of really, really, really rooted and strong food-related tradition and agricultural tradition. Like maybe you can tell us first the story about the plov, because not everyone knows it.
Yeah.
And the second, what about renewed tradition? Because when we met in Casale del Pino, you came with some novelties. So about an ice cream that I've never...
Exactly, yes. I will, with pleasure.
Share these two stories.
The king of our cuisine is a dish called plov or palov. So it's the same. It is very strong dish. It contains rice, meat, onion, carrot, and oil. And all these ingredients, they go through 3 stages of preparation. First, they are fried, then they are boiled, and in the end, they are steamed. This is very briefly how we prepare, but normally it takes 1 or 2 hours, you know. And we do it in all Uzbek family. Normally, they do palov every Thursday in the evening. But you can do more, of course, but on Thursday, it's a kind of a must, you know. And also, we do plov in big scale, you know, to celebrate something, to celebrate a wedding party. And normally, we do kind of charity event. We invite everybody. And we prepare maybe 100 kilograms, 200 kilograms of plov to share just to all of them, to share with them our joy. And you know, the history of this dish, you know, started many centuries ago. Normally, it is known that palov was invented by Tamerlane, the great emperor Amir Timur, who is known in Europe as Tamerlane. He was thinking with his cooks how to provide his army, his soldiers, with some substantial dish in order to give them, you know, a good portion in the morning and to allow them to march and to run the whole day. And so they finally came to this, you know, recipe, to this palov, and normally it's designed for soldiers and for military men, you know. So when you will be tasting, you need to keep this in mind. And the second thing which you mentioned, I am really proud about this. We, together with Italy, our friends in Italy, a couple of years ago, we launched very extraordinary project of production of saffron, zafferano. You know, how it works. We bring from Italy the best bulbs of zafferano. We plant them in Uzbekistan. When it is ready, we take it back to Italy and other countries of Europe. And if we started with only 200 hectares of land, now it is already 2,000. It was 200, and now the government allocated 2,000 hectares of land for exactly of this project, because there is a huge interest in Italy and other countries to buy this zafferano from Uzbekistan. And even now we have interest from the Middle East countries. They also like to use zafferano. So it is the best example. Why it is connected with ice cream, it is another story. I think that we invented this because nowhere before I tried ice cream with zafferano. This is something like which Uzbekistan invented, and some years ago, here in Rome, there is a big competition called Gelato World Heritage. And we participated, you know, in this with this gelato from zafferano, and we took the second place after the United States. United States took the first, we were the second. It was a huge success, and after that there was again more interest towards this, and we were happy to share this tradition when we celebrated Snacks the System last time in this beautiful place, Casale del Pino. Thank you for mentioning this, Ambassador.
I was mentioning this because, of course, when you're talking about plov and you're saying it's kind of a food that is...
to make
it's
strong.
It's for soldiers and so on, but sometimes, like for instance, I suppose the climate there, but also here, people living in urban spaces and so on, they like to have the same kind of feeling, to be linked to the traditions, maybe in another manner. So you can imagine having an ice cream that is saffron related is somehow a way to keep a link to your traditions by renewing them in a modern format that actually is even bringing new prices. I mean, this is a win-win solution. This is something that we've been talking here quite a lot. The floor is yours.
Yeah, again, I think that it's, as Ambassador Wennubst mentioned, really a great idea to renew tradition. As an Italian, I still remember the taste of this wonderful ice cream, and I even thought it tastes like risotto alla milanese. So
Yes,
again,
yes,
it's a way to put together different cooking traditions, and it was really successful ice cream, I have to say. So, and I think, do you think that these products can be also diffused at a global level? What do you think? And become like a world national heritage? With either the ice cream and the traditional dish of Uzbekistan? What do you think? Is it possible?
For palov, of course, you know, along with Uzbekistan, this dish is cooked in a number of other countries.
Yeah.
In neighboring countries of Central Asia, in Azerbaijan, in Turkey. But the genuine, original palov made in our country because of historical facts.
Yeah.
And you know, it is already very well spread regionally and internationally also. But here in Rome, there is only one place where you can try this. It's the Embassy of Uzbekistan.
So for the moment, maybe we go for the ice cream, the saffron ice cream.
Let's get an invitation to the embassy.
Yeah. And regarding Zafirano, it is already going international.
Yeah.
Recently, I was personally participating in a presentation of new brand called, maybe you heard, Oro Rosso.
Ah, okay.
Oro Rosso, it is now connected with AC Milan football team. And Oro Rosso is produced in Uzbekistan. So now you can see, you know, this publicity and brand. So it is going already beyond. It's becoming very popular, and that's why we are increasing dramatically the land allocated for this cultivation.
So I don't know if our audience would like to ask a little bit more about the constitution in the new constitution of Uzbekistan, or about how we can renew traditions. Any comments, question?
I can anyway make a comment, because this is something that came in several of the narratives of the discussion, is that there are the initiatives of the young entrepreneurs, and here you've got many of them. At the same time, there's been a discussion about, okay, if we are moving into the future where we are talking about, you know, the true cost of food, the true values, about responsibilities in emissions and so on, there must be a way to share the responsibility in the collectivity, and the government have definitely a role to play in taking into consideration that it's, since we are facing a problem, climate change and happening on a daily basis, there is definitely a need to find a collective way to go and start taking this matter seriously. I mean, we are taking it seriously, but we still don't have really the solution. This is the discussion. And then I was just intuitively indicating that by having a country like Uzbekistan that has a very long agricultural tradition, and in the past also having some problems related to this, face it, like with the cotton production and the uses of water and so on, we know that has been in the past also problems related to this. Uzbekistan is a country that is working hard to improving also their own practices.
Absolutely, yeah.
And this is something that we found useful also to share. And you know, changing, modifying constitution, it seems so easy, saying, okay, we have there a draft, and then all the population is allowed to give the feedback, and then we will have a referendum. But you know, it's not that easy. You know, the last experience, well-known worldwide experience in Chile was not as successful as it was meant to be, because at the end there is also concerns in relation to big changes that a constitution is going to bring. And this, I suppose, it is one of the reflection that makes you taking care and graft it carefully prior to go for the referendum.
That's why now it's taking more time than it was envisaged, because we have a lot of proposals from our citizens.
Perfect. I think that if there are no questions, the days is long, and this is not the last conversation. We have a last one after this one, prior going to really the party, both here an aperitif and then a group, relatively big group. We are going to share a dinner, because I think we're talking about food all the time, but then I don't know you guys, but me, I'm still missing some of it. So maybe we can have a look again to the exhibition, and then while waiting for the Secretary of State of Switzerland on agriculture and other food systems matters. We just conclude this conversation here with a thank you.
Thank you very much
Thank you very much.
for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.